I love coming here. This is just awesome. And just to see the beautiful creation that God has prepared for all of us just gives me really a huge heart of gratitude. Anyway, so welcome to my first day one of my 365-day reading plan and reflection. So let's begin. So in Genesis, we read about the history of creation and how God set everything in perfect order, and the Judeo-Christian belief in the Bible is the only one out of all the religions that pretty much just lay out the history of creation that really is similar or coincides a lot with the current reality that we know now from, all the scientific research and stuff like that. It's the only religion that even comes close to explaining the reality that we live in now and how everything came into being. But by far his best creation is you and me, because we are created in his image. So we have God's character. And this makes perfect sense, because when you look at all of the species and all of the animals here on this earth, we're the only ones that have the type of intellect that we do. We're the only ones that have a moral code within our hearts, So we're able to discern what is right and what is wrong. We're able to discern what is just and what is unjust, what is fair and what is unfair. And finally, we're the only ones that are able to discern what is good and what is evil. No other species on earth is capable of doing that. Now, one of the things that I was reflecting on when reading Psalm 1 were two things, right? Was one where it talks about the righteous man and how the righteous man really doesn't hang around with losers, right? And you know what, let's just face it, there are just some people in our lives that we need to kind of like cut off. I mean, they are more of a drain than anything, and we need to take an honest look at some of the people in our lives and the resources that they take from us, and we just need to kind of like cut them off. Maybe not just to not be friends with them, but they're just some people that are more of a drain in our lives than they are friends. And the second thing that I was thinking about was when the psalm talks about a tree and how it bears fruit in its season, or it blossoms in its season. And I started to think about that, and I started to reflect upon just, started to ask a question like, can you imagine if a tree doesn't bear fruit or doesn't blossom when it's supposed to, right? It only does it when it feels good, or it only does it when, it just is, it's a nice day or whatever, it would cause so much disorder. And that is contradictory to the way that God works. God works in order. And so I started to think about that and reflecting on the fact that we are also part of God's creation, of course. We're probably the most important creation that God has ever made. And if we were to be like the tree that doesn't blossom or doesn't bear fruit in its due season and only does it when we feel good or whatever, then that's the same thing. It's putting your life out of order. It's just living a life out of order. We need to acknowledge of who we are, and then we need to act accordingly. And who we are is we are men who are created in God's image. You know who I think about when I read Psalm 1 is Joseph, Jesus' stepfather. Which brings us into Matthew, and we start reading about the history of Jesus now. I sit there and I wonder, what kind of a man do you have to be for God to trust you to raise his one and only begotten son? I can't even imagine the pressure of thinking something like that. But you know what? I think that for Joseph, it was actually quite easy, because all he had to do was just be himself. He was already a righteous man, like Psalm 1 talks about. And you know what? It's no wonder that God chose a carpenter to raise his one and only son. Think about what a carpenter does. A carpenter builds. A carpenter renovates. A carpenter fixes. again, these are all characters of God, you know, and this is the type of household that God chose for Jesus to be raised in. And you know what? I want to long to be a man like Joseph. I just can't, we don't know too much about him, but man, I mean, just think about it. It just makes perfect sense that God was sending Jesus in to be raised by a man, a father figure, who would set the example of what a righteous man is like. And yeah, we got to thank God for Joseph and for those types of things. So if God were to speak to me today, according to His Word, I feel like this is what He would say.
What are you doing, son? Why are you running around as if you were lost or trying to find the answer that you're looking for? Why do you sit there for long periods of time thinking about your situation, as if the answer you're looking for is going to magically appear in your mind? You've lost your way, son. You have forgotten who you are. Look around you, my son, and learn from me. See how I have created the heavens and the earth in perfect order? I have set the moon, the stars, the sky, and everything you see in precise order so that you can have life. And I created you to be a man of order because you are created in my image. You are like me in so many ways, but somehow you have let the cares and worries of this world cloud the hope that is within you. You have somehow allowed certain fears and lies to seep in and cloud your thinking. Understand this. You have been specifically designed with an individual greatness that will glorify your God. I say again, you have been specifically designed with an individual greatness that will glorify your God in heaven. Shake off the midlife crisis. Take that depression and see it out the door because He is no longer welcome. Stop living your life as if you have no meaning, for I have created you to have meaning and a purpose. If you're really going to buy into my gospel message and truly believe me, then you would understand that you are a man of order because your God, your Creator, is a God of order. And if you have lost your way, it's because your life is out of order. Start looking around you. Are things out of order? If you can identify what is out of order in your life, you've identified something that is broken. And if something is broken, you need to fix it. That's what a man does. He fixes what is broken. And if there is an area in your life that is out of order, then you have it in you. I say again, you have it in you to get it together and put things back in order again. Because if you're going to believe in my word, then you need to go all in. Don't do this halfway, because that's not what a man of order does. He either does or he doesn't. He sets his mind to do something and he follows through. That's enough of wishy-washy decisions. Start making the right decisions now. Lose the identity crisis. Become who you're meant to be. Get to work. Don't lose heart. Things don't come overnight, and they don't always come in a miracle box. Understand that you have it in you. Keep going. Don't look back, and get things back in order again.